On a June day in 1959, the words of the president of the University of Rhode Island rang out across the green quadrangle. It was commencement day, and a tall man stood looking at a campus, much of which he had helped to build. "John Edward Fogarty," said President Francis H. Horn, "bricklayer by trade, Congressman by vote of your fellow citizens of Rhode Island's 2nd District, reaffirmed year after year, humanitarian by temperament, statesman by achievement, it is given to few men to have accomplished so much for the welfare of the American people in an entire lifetime, let alone in the less than 2 decades you have served in the Congress. As chairman of the Appropriations Subcommittee of the House Committee on Labor, Health, Education, and Welfare, by your tireless energy, your determined efforts, and your contagious conviction that a better world is within our grasp as education is improved, disease conquered, and poverty eliminated, you have made a contribution to the improvement of man's lot, for which present and future generations will bless your name." Thus did John Edward Fogarty receive the honorary degree of Doctor of Laws. Those few words encompass the whole career of one of the most remarkable men ever to have served in the Congress of the United States.
This is our tribute to John E. Fogarty, United States Congressman, the 2nd District of Rhode Island.
A few minutes after 10 o'clock this morning, John Edward Fogarty was in his office at the House Office Building in Washington, getting ready for the opening of the 90th Congress. At 10:39, the teletypewriters in Washington, in Providence, indeed across the nation, were chattering the news. Congressman Fogarty, dead of a heart attack. The shock was evident throughout the state and indeed throughout the nation. The people mourned the passing of John Fogarty. Few men could command so devoted a segment of this nation as he did, because he was indeed a man of the people. And though high honors were heaped upon him, a virtual shower of them from every direction, he remained a remarkably self-effacing, modest man. In the official manual of the state government of Rhode Island, replete with extensive notes on the many men in government, under his name appear 2 lines: John Edward Fogarty of Harmony, elected in 1940 and re-elected in succeeding Congresses. That's all. And in a massive congressional directory where many biographies take more than a half page of fine print, there is simply this: John Edward Fogarty, Harmony, Rhode Island, elected in 1940. That's all. The man who for 10 years was a bricklayer, never went to college, never noted as an orator, but few men in such demand from such high professional circles throughout the whole world, few men have appeared in so many places, spreading his gospel of health and the eradication of poverty, disease, and despair. No more impressive tribute could possibly be paid to John E. Fogarty than to recall the man and his work. Through the motion pictures and the Channel 12 newsroom files, and from our Public Affairs Department, let us take you back just a few years to the Kennedy administration, and then, as always, John Fogarty was involved in some great forward step in the health of our nation. The beginning of a full day for John E. Fogarty, first to his office in the Longworth House Office Building, and a greeting for his assistants, Grace Byrne and George Kelly. Both were in his office today when he died.
Well, good morning. How are we doing today?
Ticket for the flight today.
Uh-huh.
And this is
And how is the mail? Any heavier than usual?
Just about routine. We've had a few inquiries about the sanitation. I heard it's going to be located in Rhode Island.
Well, you tell everybody that's inquiring that if it's not, they're not going to get any money for it. To put it as plainly as that. Is that right?
Okay.
What else have we got on today?
So I think Judge is going to talk to you about the Secretary's luncheon.
Oh, excuse me. You do down the White House in 15 minutes.
The White House in 15 minutes. Congressman Fogarty, accompanied by his counterpart in the Senate, Lister Hill of Alabama, were to meet the President on the occasion of a new program for dental care. Senator Theodore Francis Green was there, among others. President Kennedy had long known Congressman Fogarty as a member of Congress from Massachusetts and as a senator. They talked briefly about the new program of dental care, one more victory for the apostle of good health. In the President's office, the Congressman sat and had a few words with the President.
John, I want to say that delighted to have you here at the White House. This is an important day in which we open up this new Dental Research Institute, which you in the House and Senator Hill in the Senate have been so active in promoting. We're concerned about the health of our children, particularly, and the kind of teeth they have, which goes to their general state of well-being. So I want to congratulate you for another effort that you've made on this whole question of health, with which you've been so identified for so many years.
Well, I thank you very much. And by the looks of your teeth, you have a pretty good dentist, I'd say. Right?
Yes,
and one of the best in the country today with us, you know, all of the big heroes of the American Dental Association.
Well, I'm delighted, and having two children who's, I think that all of us are concerned that both as children and as adults, that the care of dental hygiene, that it be given the kind of stature and prestige, research, and work that it's entitled to. And along with your work on heart, cancer, and all the rest, I believe that it's most appropriate that we work in this field. So I just want to tell you that I'm delighted to have you down today, and I'm delighted that they're going to open this building.
Well, you were doing the same things when you were in the Senate and the House, I remember.
I know, well, we're doing
great interest.
Well, I know, we're doing basic research.
You think we're spending enough money?
Well, I leave that to your good judgment, John. Okay.
And then there were pictures. And with the group were former WPRO TV General Manager Joseph P. Dougherty, former Channel 12 commentator Virginia Stewart. This was just part of a single day in the busy life of Congressman Fogarty, and this was just the beginning. Near the Capitol, the Congressman chanced to meet Sam Rayburn, then aging somewhat but still possessed of his great devotion to all the processes of government. No one could possibly guess how many times those steps had been climbed by John E. Fogarty, who in 1953 had a coronary thrombosis. The day was filled with the busyness of Mr. Fogarty's interests, here with representatives of his subcommittee on appropriations for health, education, and welfare. Since 1941, Congressman Fogarty has seen some $10 billion go through his committee for health and science research. But it wasn't all on that subject. Mr. Fogarty had a deep interest in the expansion of quality education throughout the nation, meeting with the Commissioner of Education on innumerable occasions. And his interest in the shore areas of Rhode Island's heritage never flagged: the hurricane barrier, the dredging of the Providence River Channel, the preservation of bay shore and sea coast. The Army engineers had much to do with this at Mr. Fogarty's behest. And his committee work brought him into daily contact with the Civil Aeronautics Board. Here he is with Rhode Islander Robert Murphy, still the vice chairman of the CAB. The now famous Institute of Dental Research at Bethesda, Maryland, one more monument to Fogarty's labors. Joining him in its dedication were Surgeon General Luther Terry, many national figures in dental and medical health, plus then Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare, who was a member of the speaking program, Abraham Ribicoff. And after the unveiling of the new National Institute of Dental Research, a few words.
Secretary, this is a great day for dentistry. It's a great day for the American people, John, and I wonder if the people of Rhode Island, the United States, realize your part in this. Well, there was a small part, and you played a good part, too. You made the best speech of the day. Oh, because it was short. But really, I think that every American today, and generations yet to come, are deeply indebted to Congressman Fogarty of Rhode Island. I, who have followed this field as a congressman, as a governor, and now in this department, have a deep realization of the knowledge, the understanding, and the leadership qualities. Research in the field of all great diseases, whether they affect children, we of the middle years, or our aging population, have received their start and their growth with the deep dedication of Congressman Fogarty. And I know I speak for the President and myself, and I hope for all the people of the country in the great debt all of us owe John Fogarty of Rhode Island.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. I didn't expect quite that much.
No, you have it coming to you. And of course, they say a man is never a prophet in his own hometown, his own home state. But while everybody in Rhode Island knows you, attested by your election and re-election, your name is just as well known throughout the United States as it is in the precincts of Rhode Island, too.
It never seemed to let up in his busy day. A visit to former Surgeon General Leonard Shield had to be squeezed in. And then there was another trip to Bethesda, the National Institutes of Health, whose very existence might never have come about without the prodding of the energetic Rhode Islander. Here, the clinical center, and Fogarty is accompanied by the physician who rushed to his office this morning, Dr. James Shannon, director of the National Institutes of Health. This is the fruit of the planning, the hard work of getting appropriations, the badgering, and the cajoling. Something Congressman Fogarty has been doing ever since he was elected, for the first time in 1940. UN Ambassador Arthur Goldberg was Secretary of Labor at the time, and labor was another area of Congressman Fogarty's attention. He had met with Mr. Goldberg on many occasions to talk about labor legislation and the improvement of the working man's lot.
Mr. Secretary, do you know what this thing is?
Well, Congressman Fogarty, this looks like a bricklayer's tool, a tool that I think you have a slight familiarity with.
For 10 years. This is called a brick set, and I cut many a brick with that.
Well, you know, Congressman, your work on the various committees of the Congress demonstrates that you have a familiarity with working for a living. You've been one of the great exponents of the real rights of laboring people in the Congress.
Well, I cut a lot of brick with that in 10 years, and I took this with me when I came to Washington back in 1941.
But you're still laying brick, you know, in the Congress. You're laying brick of substantial legislation in the interest of all the people.
The office of John E. Fogarty was as typical a congressman's place as anywhere in the capital. Everywhere the signs of awards and tributes, presidents under which he had served. There had been 5 of them. But he'd never say very much about them. John Fogarty would perhaps want to be remembered as he always was, working to the very last moment for the health of his fellow citizens, for their welfare, and for their education. Rhode Island has paid many tributes to John Fogarty during his lifetime. A building at the Ladd School in Exeter bears his name. The Center for Retarded Children on Atwells Avenue in Providence also bears his name. John Fogarty was a leader in the systematic alleviation of the problems of retarded children and their families. A magnificent new structure at the University of Rhode Island bears the name, the Fogarty Center for the Health Sciences. It heralded a new era in the study of the causes of disease. And also at URI, and although his name does not appear as yet on the Narragansett campus of the University's School of Marine Science and Oceanography, it does loom large in the establishment of this exciting new venture into the study of the sea and its potential. But here in the Fogarty Center at URI in Kingston is the focal point of Congressman Fogarty's interest. The scientists, the doctors, the nurses, the researchers of the future will long remember the name Fogarty. And the place John Fogarty loved perhaps most of all was his home in Harmony, perched on the ridge of a beautiful wooded hill off the Putnam Pike. This was the place to which he returned every weekend. This is how it looked late this afternoon on this very day. Near the house, the brick-faced library containing mementos of 25 years in the Congress of the United States. We mentioned the fact that John E. Fogarty served under 5 presidents, and each one of these presidents prominently displayed in the library. John Fogarty was a collector of sorts, and nearly everything he collected was somehow or other a memento of Washington and his representation of Rhode Island and Providence plantations in the nation's capital. On the walls of the library up there on that beautiful hill are many, many awards. And probably the chief among them is the one which was given to the first non-professional in the history of the award itself, the Albert Lasker Memorial Medical Award. There were many awards received by Congressman Fogarty which carried monetary prizes, such as the Lasker Award, which alone represented $5,000. He never kept a penny of any of these awards, gave them all to his favorite, I was about to say charities, but actually to his favorite work, to help retarded children, handicapped children of all races, all creeds, all religions, everywhere. The very mention of the growth of treatment for retarded children must bring up 2 names closely associated with that of Fogarty. Among his closest personal friends and supporters, the late J. Arthur Trudeau and Joseph Byron. Mr. Byron, who heads the Rhode Island Retarded Children's Association and now an officer at Providence College, talked with newsman Wally Cryan on the passing of Congressman Fogarty.
As far as the programs and the Foundation for Retarded Children are concerned now, it would seem that we've lost 2 great giants in the field, sir.
With the question, the loss of Arthur Trudeau a year ago, as a person who worked outside government and who did more than any one man in the state of Rhode Island in this field, you just don't replace a person like that as an individual who had a peculiar talent to get things done in this particular area. And in the field of government, John represented just about the best, and his position in Washington, of course, and his seniority placed him in a position to do things that takes years of service to do. But he did them, as I said before, because of his feeling and his... we've lost in the last year in the movement for retarded children 2 people that just can't be replaced. I must say that both of them have built the foundation here in Rhode Island and throughout the country that will see these programs go forward in the future, thanks to both of them.
How does one really pay tribute to this great champion of people, to one to whom an individual meant more than anything else? Hundreds, one night last year, paid $100 a plate to honor him, and thereby, at his behest, help retarded children. Senator Robert F. Kennedy had his own tribute that night.
Our family for a long period of time. I think really when we're talking about mental retardation, we're talking about not just statistics, but we're talking about individuals. The first brick for his effort was laid in 1955 when he secured the first federal research funds for research into mental retardation, which amounted to $750,000. And I think we realized what he's done in that struggle. And now in 1965, the federal government appropriates $120 million for this same research work. And without John Fogarty, that really never would have been done. So I think we all owe a great debt to him, not only the people of Rhode Island and people of the state of New York, my ex-state, the people of the state of Massachusetts, but all across the United States. We owe a debt to John Fogarty. When John Fogarty first raised his voice for the mentally retarded, there were few who shared his concern. Mental retardation was thought really to be hopeless, and because it was misunderstood, it was feared. I remember in my own family that feeling as my parents went again and again to various doctors and various homes to find out some answer and some hope. I remember in the 1930s, really in the early 1940s, if somebody was mentally retarded, they were really to be feared. Almost people locked up in a closet or something to be put away somewhere. Now that's all changed. And we're making the kind of progress that's experienced by all of us this evening. Men at that time feared these little children. Up to now, we have allowed our educational system to function like a sieve, sorting out those who fit a predetermined pattern and neglecting the rest. But we know that virtually every child, however retarded, however handicapped, can be taught. We know that 85% of retarded children can become self-supporting. We know that whatever difference there is between the mentally retarded and other children, there is one respect in which they are the same. They can be taught. They can be helped. They can lead normal lives, contributing to society instead of burdening it. The lesson is plain. If we want to, we can find productive work for all of these people, work which will repay our efforts many times over. And while we make that effort, we keep in mind the fact that these are individuals with souls and minds and hearts just like the rest of us, who deserve a break, deserve an effort on behalf of all of us for them. We can do this much. We really can do no less. John Fogarty has shown us the way. Either a borrow or a lend a be, said Polonius in the Hamlet. We have really borrowed from John Fogarty's vision and his wise labor in pursuit of that vision. We are only the richer for it. To him we owe the best of debts, the obligation to repay him in the only coin for which he cares, the coin of devoted effort to the cause he has served so well. So we meet here tonight with a sense of completion, but also of beginning, with pride in John Fogarty's accomplishments, and also with gratitude to the contribution he has made and will make to all of us, and with the satisfaction of sure knowledge that if we all continue in the spirit that he has shown and that is here tonight, that we cannot fail. I thank you.
John Fogarty's response to this acclaim was typical. There are no words, truly, other than his own, to properly measure the height and the strength of John Fogarty.
For the honor you have bestowed upon me this evening, I have been selling some tickets for this affair with the complete understanding that all proceeds were to go to for research and care and education of the retarded children in the state of Rhode Island. And I didn't know until today that this dinner was supposed to be in recognition of that work that some people have claimed I've done over the years. But I just don't have any message to give you this evening. I certainly appreciate everyone at the head table, the governor and the mayor and Senator Pastore and Freddie St. Germain, and certainly Bob Kennedy, who has come all the way from Washington. He was in New York testifying this morning, It's the first time he has spoken out of the state of New York, and he came here, I don't think because of my friendship with him, but because of his concern about the plight of the retarded children, not only in Rhode Island, but in New York and all over our country and yea, throughout the world. I don't know of any family in the world that has done more in the past few years for the retarded children than has the Kennedy family. His brother, the president, and one person he didn't mention tonight, or wasn't mentioned, his sister Eunice, I think, has the children, did more for the retarded children in our country and in the world than any other family or any other two people that I know of in my lifetime. And so, on behalf of I want to thank the committee. I think we have one of the hardest working committees. They told me it was good news to me when I heard last Wednesday that the place had been sold out, all tickets had been sold, and they expect to realize a profit of about $50,000 tonight that will be equally divided between the State Association for Retarded Children and the Fogarty Foundation, and every dime that is collected here tonight will go into those two foundations or causes for retarded children.
Just a few months ago, the Fogarty Testament was contained in some words during a committee meeting when he was fighting desperately to keep some health programs on the move. "It is very disturbing to me," he said, "that we know more about the nucleus of the atom than we know about the structure of the gene. Every day, each one of us must fight a guerrilla war against incipient disease. Here we are, on the one hand, spending billions of dollars trying to get a man on the moon and carrying on a military operation in a foreign land. And when it comes to helping to save our people here at home, we are cutting back. It just doesn't make sense to me." This is Mort. Good night.
Respectfully, we have offered this tribute to John E. Fogarty, United States Congressman, the 2nd District of Rhode Island.